Brian Christopher Williams, renowned by his stage identity Birdman, entered the world on February 15, 1969, at Charity Hospital located in New Orleans, Louisiana. His parents were Johnny Williams and Gladys Brooks. Interestingly, it was Johnny who refrained from signing the birth certificate, leading Brian to initially adopt his mother's surname. For almost a month subsequent to his birth, he lacked an official first name, and was simply recognized as Baby, a moniker he still carries to this present day. During his early years, Baby and his family resided above a bar owned by his father, Johnny Williams, an ex-military man and owner of multiple businesses, including a laundromat in New Orleans. Johnny's bar, Gladys, became a popular hangout for hustlers, drug dealers, pimps, prostitutes, and businessmen. The family lived in a small apartment above the bar. However, his childhood took a tragic turn when his mother, Gladys, became ill and died in 1975 when Brian was 5 years old. Following this devastating loss, Birdman and his siblings Kim, Ronald, and Ray were taken under the care of their uncle. This led to a period of 2 years living in Prince George, British Columbia, Canada. At the age of about 8 or 9, he moved into the care of a boys' home because he didn't have a legal guardian. Meanwhile, his father Johnny Williams remarried another woman known by the name Patricia. The turning point arrived when Baby's father Johnny discovered that his children were placed in foster care. This revelation triggered a protracted legal struggle in the mid-70s, culminating in Johnny and his wife Patricia ultimately gaining full custody of the youngsters. Consequently, Brian's name was changed to Brian Williams, marking a new chapter in their lives. Baby and his siblings transitioned to residing with Johnny and Patricia, establishing their home in the Magnolia Projects situated in Central City, New Orleans. It was during this period that Brian fostered a deep companionship with his stepbrother, Eldrick Wise. During their time in the Magnolia neighborhood, Baby and his cousin brother Eldrick Wise swiftly embarked on a path of engaging in robberies and jointly trading heroin, actions that ultimately led to their apprehension at the age of 16. Subsequently, at the age of 18, both encountered legal trouble once more, this time due to drug possession, resulting in a 3-year sentence at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center. Of the two, Brian served 18 months before eventually being acquitted of all allegations. Wise, 22, was found shot to death on February 28, 2006. When he got out of prison, Baby was determined to make money using legal means. He did not want to live the street life again. He began to hang more with his brother Ronald Slim Williams. Slim was always the quiet, laid-back one, but the influence of his father, Johnny Williams, was strong. He had a mind for business and thought constantly about how he could make money. To go with Slim's hungry mind for business, his brother Baby had keen hustling instincts. During the 1980s, as hip-hop surged in popularity throughout the United States, distinct elements and forms of the genre were embraced by various regions, often influenced by the unique characteristics of their local cultures. Within New Orleans, a sound and aesthetic known as bounce music garnered the fascination of the youth from that era. Baby and Slim hatched a plan to incorporate bounce music plus New Orleans dance culture to make great records. Baby was already known in the city for his hustling abilities in the Magnolia Projects as well as his past robbery sprees with his stepbrother Eldrick Wise, who had a reputation in the city before he was murdered. Master P, affiliated with No Limit and Take FO Records, was already making big money and profits within the realm of New Orleans hip-hop. Baby and Slim searched deeper on the New Orleans hip-hop scene and studied how Master P was making money with hip-hop. By the age of 20, Baby asserts that he had amassed $1 million through his dealings in the streets. This narrative gave rise to speculations that Cash Money Records was initiated using street-derived funds. Interestingly, the first logo for Cash Money was handcrafted by Baby. They took the name from the Cash Money Brothers gang featured in the film New Jack City, which was a source of inspiration at the time. In 1991, determined to make money, the Williams brothers set out recruiting talent. Cash Money's first artist was a local named Kilo G, who released the album The Sleepwalker in 1992. The album was sold out of the trunk of the Williams brothers' car. The release was not a success as locals did not embrace it, as they preferred high-energy and catchy bounce rap dominating New Orleans at the time. With one rapper in the game, the Williams brothers continued to recruit others. They struck gold when Baby convinced his friend, a local DJ named DJ Manny Fresh, to become their in-house producer. This would be a defining moment for Cash Money Records and hip-hop music in New Orleans. Manny Fresh swiftly established himself as the resident producer for Cash Money, embedding his signature bounce production style into the label's endeavors. This collective effort significantly bolstered their presence within the New Orleans music scene. Manny displayed an unmatched work ethic, ultimately crafting the production for every record the label put forth over the span of a decade. Other artists to record with Cash Money Records at that time include UNLV, Project's Most Wanted, Pimp Daddy, Ms. T, and Lil Slim. Brian Williams would even make his rap debut as B-32, releasing a song I Need a Bag of Dope in 1993. Lil Slim was one of Cash Money's first artists and helped get the label its earliest radio play when his single Bounce Slide Ride hit New Orleans staple Q93's radio airwaves. In 1995, during a block party, Cash Money artist Lil Slim was introduced to a then 12-year-old Dwayne Carter. Upon hearing Dwayne's rap skills, Lil Slim was profoundly impressed by his talent and subsequently brought him to Baby's attention. This led to Dwayne signing as the youngest artist under the Cash Money label. Adopting the moniker Baby D, Carter was then teamed up with another youthful rapper, Lil Doogie, resulting in the formation of the duo known as the B.G.Z. Their name, BG or Baby Gangsta, paid homage to Terrence Gangsta Williams, a figure of infamous street reputation. In 1995, BG and Lil Wayne, then known as Lil Doogie and Baby, or Gangsta D, respectively, both made their debuts on Cash Money as the BGs before they were even old enough to attend high school. Cash Money's lineup was reshuffled in favor of younger and more marketable artists as it looked to break through nationally. Later, violence claimed the lives of popular Cash Money artists Kilo G, Pimp Daddy, and Yella Boy. Mr. Ivan and Lil Slim departed Cash Money on bad terms, while the rest of UNLV's momentum was derailed following Yella's passing, and they soon left the label as well. It was a setback for the label, but didn't stem its success. In 1997, Baby D and Lil Doogie renamed themselves Lil Wayne and BG, respectively, and that same year Cash Money signed two other new artists, Turk and Juvenile. The four youngsters formed a group called the Hot Boys, a name they took from a Magnolia Project street crew that Terrence Gangsta Williams was involved with. This new bounce supergroup took Cash Money Records to a new level. By 1997, the landscape of Cash Money had completely changed as the Hot Boys, Juvenile, Lil Wayne, BG and Turk, and the Big Timers, Manny Fresh and Baby aka Birdman, were the new focal points of the label that helped them strike a landmark deal with Universal Records. In 1998, Cash Money solidified itself as one of the top independent labels as they signed a landmark deal in the industry with Universal Records. The deal was worth $30 million. $3 million was paid in advance up front, and they would get 85% of royalties and full ownership of their masters. Later that year, the label would strike gold with Juvenile's album 400 Degrees. A year later, it was certified for X-Platinum. As the year 1999 progressed, BG's album Chopper City in the Ghetto was released in April and swiftly attained platinum status. The album notably delivered BG his most significant hit up to that point, Bling Bling, featuring contributions from the Hot Boys and Big Timers. The unforgettable hook provided by Lil Wayne sparked a cultural sensation, with the term bling becoming so deeply embedded in mainstream culture that it eventually secured a place in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. As the year 2000 drew to a close, the initial signs of fracture within the Cash Money empire started to surface. Behind closed doors, conflicts over finances began to come to light. Juvenile was the first to notice he was not getting compensated properly. Juvenile subsequently left Cash Money Records. BG and Turk would soon follow, putting their third album Let 'Em Burn in doubt, although it was later released. The record label had taken a major blow. By 2002, the roster was now dwindled down to Lil Wayne, the big timers, and unproven talent such as Boo and Gotti, the D-Boys, Lack and Stone, and Mickey Halstead. Even after parting ways with 3 of their prominent artists, Cash Money displayed resilience and managed to make a comeback. The album Hood Rich by the Big Timers claimed the #1 spot on the Billboard charts, successfully recapturing the platinum status that had eluded Cash Money in the previous year. The single Still Fly from the album achieved tremendous popularity, owing to its infectious hook led by Mannie Fresh, and even garnered a Grammy nomination. After the release of the popular album Birdman, Baby took the Birdman moniker and stayed on top with solo albums, new groups, and remixes. He was a mogul who also rapped and performed. The year 2003 unfolded as an unusual period for Cash Money, marked by a notable mix of events. Among them was the label's pronounced misstep, seen in the disappointing performance of Boo and Gotti's debut album Perfect Timing. This Chicago duo's offering received scant promotion and experienced lackluster sales, signifying one of the label's initial failures. However, the Big Timers once again provided stability by delivering Big Money Heavyweight, their final album up to that point. Yet, the most astonishing development was Juvenile's comeback with the release of Juve the Great. The reconciliation was short-lived though, as Juvenile would depart once again in favor of a deal with Atlantic Records, making Juve the Great his final project with Cash Money. In 2004, Mannie Fresh left Cash Money Records over money disputes. This was a major blow to the record label, as his work ethic was incredible, producing almost every single Cash Money release in its entirety for a decade. Before he left, he produced the majority of Lil Wayne's breakthrough album The Carter. Wayne's sequel The Carter 2 dropped in 2005, eliciting more commercial and critical acclaim. Wayne staked his claim as the top rapper in the game with his bold statements that he was the best rapper alive. Wayne, through his Young Money label, which was under Birdman's Cash Money label, brought on the likes of Currency, Mac Main, Raw Dizzy, and Gutta Gutta. Wayne's stardom would reach its peak by 2008 as The Carter 3 became one of the most highly anticipated albums of the mid to late 2000s. Cash Money Records later on evolved into a new identity and attracted other artists like Drake, Tyga, Nicki Minaj, Corey Gunz, Jay Mills, Gutta Gutta, Lil Twist, Chanel, and many more. Lil Wayne later became president of Cash Money Records before branching off with his own label, Young Money Entertainment, which introduced the world to future stars Drake and Nicki Minaj. Lil Wayne and Birdman had a highly publicized falling out that lasted for several years. The feud primarily revolved around financial disputes and the delayed release of Lil Wayne's album The Carter V. Lil Wayne accused Birdman and Cash Money Records of withholding royalties and not fulfilling their contractual obligations. This disagreement led to a legal battle, with Lil Wayne filing a lawsuit against Cash Money Records and Birdman in 2015, seeking both financial compensation and release from his contract. The lawsuit was eventually settled in 2018, with Lil Wayne reportedly receiving a substantial settlement and regaining ownership of his Young Money imprint. As part of the settlement, Lil Wayne was also able to release The Carter V under his own terms, and the album came out in 2018 after years of delays. Following the settlement, both Lil Wayne and Birdman indicated that they had resolved their issues and were on better terms. On April 12, 2017, Birdman accepted a plaque in honor of Cash Money Records having sold 1 billion units. On September 13, 2018, it was announced that Young Money was no longer a joint business venture with Cash Money. Ownership of the imprint was granted entirely to Lil Wayne as part of the legal settlements with Birdman that were finalized.